Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Anas bin Bahrin and good morning to the panelists. Before I start my presentation, I would like to give a thanks to my supervisor, which is Dr. Sidahana binti Nasir, and also not to forget to my school supervisor, which is Dr. Amirul Shafiq bin Sadun. Thanks for help and guided me in my research of study to the end of semester. So, as the title of my project is Design Improvement for a Mobile Rugby Ball Launcher Robot for Indoor Training Purpose. Okay, this is my presentation outline, which is the number one is overview of the project, and the second one is project objective, and the third one is scope of study. The number 4 is literature review, and then project methodology, and the last one is conclusion. Okay, for the overview of the project, as the main purpose of designing this MR launcher is the use for primary school kids, which is designed for indoor purpose only. It is also designed with a launcher concept with a forklift arm, and also in an attractive way of the robot launcher, and can stimulate the interest of the kids to the rugby sport games. Okay, for the problem statement, the number one is MR launcher do not have a storage mechanism, which is we need to pick up the ball one by one using gripper mechanism before launching them. So number two is there is no specific mechanism used in existing product. Okay, for the objective of the project is to propose new design for the ball storage, and the second one is to develop the storage with suitable automation mechanism using Arduino, and the last one is to evaluate the performance of the new storage compared to the previous one. Okay, for the scope of the project, the first one is improvement on the current robot by adding a storage with an automatic guided ball stopper mechanism. And the second one is material used for framework is similar to the criteria of the current structure. The third one is size of the ball compatible for kid use. And this number 4 is distance of delivering the ball for indoor set range only. And number 5 is semi-autonomous robot, which is RF remote control. And then the last one is limited to the flat and smooth surface area only, such as assembly hall, futsal court, and also badminton court. Okay, now we move to the literature review. So this section contains history of Rugby Launcher Robot, and also description of MR launcher, and also MR launcher versus existing robot, and the last one is significance of mechanism. Okay, for the first of literature review is history of Rugby Launcher, which is Rugby Launcher machine designed in order to have accuracy and consistency in delivering the balls. And it is basically used in training session and also used for all professional players. It is beneficial of this machine is to increase the player skills and credibility in order to capturing balls. It is basically can do many kicks and passes in 60 minutes. So this machine can last longer for 60 minutes. And as we can see in the picture here, we can see that the machine have a stance and designed with two roller in order to move the machine. Okay, the second literature review is description of MR launcher. So the first point is MR launcher is a mobile robot to move around the environment like an automatic guided vehicles with using a remote control. So the second point is MR launcher is a fully electrically powered without any hydraulic and pneumatic in all mechanisms. So the third one is MR launcher also designed with a gripper and feeder mechanism, which is gripper function as a grip to grip the balls and put it on the top of MR launcher, and then feeder mechanism will push the balls directly to the launching mechanism. And the last point is it is fully made by recyclable and reusable materials such as aluminium, steel, and ABS plastic. Okay, for the next literature review is MR launcher versus assisting robot. So we have here 5 points of criteria that we mentioned here. So the first point is movement. So MR launcher have mobility to move multi-directional way with a controller, while existing robot move manually. So the second point is platform. So MR launcher designed to use in indoor only, which is flat and smooth surface area, while existing robot can do both indoor and outdoor. Time used for MR launcher is 20 minutes only, while existing robot for 60 minutes. The body structure and performance, no need to change the posture and structure for the MR launcher, while existing robot used to change the posture and structure in order to launch the ball or to move. So the last point is shooting distance. For MR launcher, it is limited to 3 to 10 meter range only, while the existing robot can shoot to 70 meter maximum range. This is because MR launcher is designed for kids and indoor use only. Okay, the last section of literature review is significant mechanism. So the first point is feeder and gripper mechanism, and the second point is launcher mechanism with 2 grip wheels, and the last one is 4-wheel drive mechanism with mechanism wheels. Okay, now we move to the next section, which is project methodology. And as we can see here, we have 6 points of project methodology, which is the first one is project implementation procedures, and the second one is mechanism improvement, and then 3D design comparison, and then electrical block diagram, and follows with testing method, and the last one is safety measures. Okay, we start with a flowchart of project implementation. So as we can see here, the first method is brainstorming the project title, and then identify the requirement, and then choosing suitable materials and hardware, designing the robot, and then analyze the design, and continue with fabricate the framework, assembly all the elements, and then we testing the robot, and then if problem occur, we identify the problem and then testing the robot again. If we do not have the problem anymore, we can move to the discussion and conclusion. So we move to the next project methodology, which is mechanism improvement. So as we can see at the left, this is the ball rack design with stopper mechanism, and it is also connected with the servo motor. So at the middle one is Arduino Uno, which is the program controlling system, and it is also connected with the ball stopper mechanism. And the right one is indicated LED power display. So this mechanism can help the user detects when the battery power is low. Okay, now we move to the next project methodology, which is design comparison, 3D design comparison in SolidWorks software. So as we can see here in the both side of design, the design improvement proposal mostly similar to the current design, but the difference between them is the back part of the body, which is the current design using a gripper mechanism, which is the gripper mechanism is unattachable. And then the design improvement, we have an storage mechanism for the ball. And from the front of the MR launcher, we can see that MR launcher have two grip wheels as a launcher mechanism, and the middle of it has rollers as a way of the ball to move to the launcher mechanism. And then the right one is a feeder mechanism, which is the push-in mechanism for the ball directly to the launcher mechanism. Okay, now we move to the next project methodology, which is electrical block diagram. So as the receiver function to transmit the instruction given by the controller and transfer to the motor driver, which is, as we can see here, we have 3 motor driver for the high torque motor, and the output is 2 front wheel motor and 2 back wheel motor, and also the wheel launcher motor. So as the servo motor, the output is feeder and ball stopper, which is the servo motor can move to the specific angular position. So for the power supply, MR launcher use 4 lipo batteries for each mechanism. Okay, now we move to the next project methodology, which is testing method. This method will be done once all mechanism have been assembled. So the first test to do is the function of the storage mechanism, and the second one is the movement of the MR launcher, and the third one is the accurateness test of the delivered ball, and the last one is the time taken of feeding and delivering the balls. Okay, now we move to the last section of project methodology, which is safety measure. So the safety precaution that we apply in this MR launcher is all drivers and power sources are covered with ABS plastic enclosure to prevent electric shock. So the second one is all wire ends are covered and the wires are hidden to prevent unnecessary interaction. And the last one is press button switch is connected between the electronic components and power sources for safety purposes and as an emergency stop button. So in conclusion section, we have an expected result. The first result that we expect to achieve is the ball rack can perform the mechanism system which is using the ball stopper mechanism appropriately. So the second one is we are able to create the programming control system in computer software, which is Arduino 1.8.5 version for ball stopper mechanism with an innovation of using Arduino Uno microcontroller. So the last one is the performance of MR launcher in feeding and delivering the ball become more accurate and more efficient for the training use. That's all for me. Thank you.